So, good morning. And before we get up to shake it all out, I would like just to share a little bit of my morning reflection, as I always like to start the morning in a contemplative way and with kind of a wisdom thought to carry into my day. And it might be relevant to you, it might not be relevant to you. Let's go into that. Okay. So you can sit, you can have your eyes open, you can have your eyes closed to hear what I'm about to share. So my morning thought, my morning reflection this morning, as my alarm clock went off, was that I was starting to feel a little bit like I was in an episode of Groundhog Day. I've been kind of in this situation, lockdown situation, for almost 2 weeks now, and you know, it's starting to feel a little bit repetitive. And when my eyes opened and I kind of went to turn my alarm clock off, I had all of this history and all of this story already, this story that I was already tired, this story that there was going to be a lot to do today, this story that I couldn't get to the beach. All this kind of information came flooding in. And I kind of got out of bed a little bit kind of humpy, a little bit, deflated, rather than kind of jumping out of bed like normal. And then I came and sat and did my meditation, and two things came to mind right away. One, very obvious, very potent: be in the present moment. Be truly in the present moment. And then the second one that came into mind was that when we are stuck in thoughts about a past, a familiar past, it will only lead to that predictable future. So going into that, Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about that a lot, that our familiar pasts lead us to a predictable future. And it always brings to mind an image of the fly that is trying to get out the window, but he just keeps going into that same spot, bumping his head again and again and again. And those of you who've gone to Juicy know that from that image very, very well, as Jason shows it a lot in his videos. But it just represents that if we keep doing something in the same way without making any changes, if we're not learning from it, if we're not really present to the opportunities around us, we just keep bumping our head against the same situation again and again. When I was doing my teacher training, we had a session that at the time didn't seem important or relevant, but we had almost this group therapy session for about 2 months with a relation counselor. And we did a lot of work about showing up and being really present in the moment with other people, with also situations and any interactions that we find ourselves in life. So this might be relevant for us right now. And something that she said that was a big aha moment was that whenever we're interacting, whether that be with a situation or a person, we often interact with history, with all of our stories about this interaction. So all of our preconceived judgments, opinions, ideas, we even have a story of how it's going to play out. So instead of responding in the moment to what is really happening, we end up going to that situation already in defense, already reacting. And we could be reacting on something that's totally false and not real. So really being grounded and reminding ourselves to stay in the present, I think, is going to really help us get through any situation, whether it's this moment, the situation we find ourselves in, or in life. And it's a reminder I have to remind myself constantly, is just to stay in the present and let go of that past, the thoughts of a familiar past, if I want to change and have an unpredictable future, if I want to walk into my potential, if I want to change the trajectory that I'm on. And that was really profound learning for me. Whenever I show up to a situation, to an event, to a person, can I really tune into myself so I can be present with what is happening instead of coming at it and bringing all of my past with it, bringing all of that baggage to the situation. I'm just going to give you a quick example just to give you a story to sum that up. Imagine that you're about to take a phone call from someone on your team, someone that you work with or a family member, and they're the type that are always kind of nagging. They're always kind of picking your faults and finding something that you could be doing better. And anticipating that phone call, you're already starting to, in your body, feel tense. You're already starting to get a more shallow breath. And when you pick up the phone call, you are instantly armored in defense. So you're in that defense mode. And before they even speak, you start to react. You already have this story built up in your mind of what they're going to say. They're going to pick that you didn't get this work submitted yesterday on time. So you already have this defense and this ego that is ready to fight any word that they say. And then they totally shock you and just say, you know, it's so good to hear a voice at the end of the phone right now. It's so nice to be able to still work with you. And then you are left going, kind of dumbfounded, because all of your past story just doesn't make sense right now. But maybe you even still react to them defensively. So my point is, can we approach each day in childlike eyes, like it's the first moment, the first time, like everything is fresh again? And it's really going to help us, particularly if you're starting to feel like me, or when you do feel like me, like we're in this Groundhog Day again and again. Can we see each moment with new eyes? Can we really be present so that we can see the beauty, that we can still feel that excitement that goes away when we go into a familiar routine and pattern and habit? And that can be with anything that you're doing. Can you still see it in a beginner's way? Be in that present moment and pull yourself back and breathe deeply there. So let's just close our eyes for a moment if they're not already. Take a deep breath in and really pull yourself into this moment, into this breath. And a big breath out. Take a deep breath in, stretch your arms up and overhead, feel your body in this moment, every detail of it. And a big exhale, arms to the side. Okay, let's wake up now. Let's rise and shine. So stand up on your mat. Get your music ready. You can press play now. So we're pressing play on that song Duality. That is the first song. And turn it up really loud as you can, even if everyone else is sleeping. And then I'd like you to come to a position on your mat, have your feet as comfortable as possible. So not together, make your stance a little bit wide. And then soften your knees, good. Relax your arms, your shoulders, relax your wrists and your hands. And then drop your chin to your chest. Let's just take a big neck roll to wake up the neck. Get a little bit into the shoulders. And just notice how you're feeling this morning. And go the opposite way. Coming back to center with the head. Lift your shoulders to your ears. Really shrug, squeeze, pull them back, and let them set back down. And again, do this. Lift the shoulders, pull them back, let them sit down. Notice how the body's feeling. And then reverse that. Lift up, pull forward, and let's set down. And let's start the bounce. We're going to start the bounce from the knees, pushing into your feet. And you want to relax the upper body enough so that the arms just start to jiggle. Yeah. And you can keep your eyes closed so you can really tune into what you're feeling in the body. And the more you let loose, the more you relax, the more that the shake is going to reverberate into the whole of your being. Let go. So the brilliant thing about this shaking is it's literally pressing the reset button on our body, on our nervous system. So a lot of therapists will actually use this shaking to help someone who is stuck in their emotions, stuck in their patterns, their behaviors, because that energy literally gets stuck in the body. So I want you to move today, move in this shaking, convulsing way, as if you're literally trying to clean the slate. If you're trying to shake off anything that is kind of sticking to us that we don't want to bring into our day. And it can be modest, it can be just a little bounce, or it can be a little bit more wild and free, exploring the space around you. And try to stay in this moment, in what you're feeling, so that you can spot and you can notice when tension is starting to rise, when we're starting to get a little bit shy, when we're holding back and restraining ourselves, so that you can choose to feel a little bit more free. The best thing we can do is just choose another way. When we're really in the moment, we're really tuned into all of the possibilities rather than just the one that we're familiar with. Choose another way. Good. Getting the body warm, getting that heart rate going, getting all those feel-good hormones, chemicals flushing through the body, getting rid of the cortisol in our body, that hormone that it builds up through stress. And just getting our whole system ready for our day. And when we do this, it's like we're literally shaking off what's holding us down, what's making us feel heavy. And on top of that, we get to have a little dance jam in our house. Good. So let's just do this, my friends, for 5 more seconds. Get rid of anything else. Let's get rid of the breath. Take a deep breath in, a big sigh. One more time, deep breath in, and a big sigh. Come to stand still. Come to stand still. Close your eyes. And I want you just to feel what that feels like in your body. Slow down your breath so you can slow down the heart. Plug your feet deep into the earth so you feel grounded and held. Slow down the breath. Slow down the heart. And feel the effect of that buzz, that feeling of aliveness. Maybe you're starting to even feel a little bit lighter in your being, in your body. Take a deep breath here. Reach your arms up to the sky. And a big exhale, bring your hands back to the heart. And again, inhale. Reach the arms up to the sky. And exhale, hands back to the heart. Beautiful. My friends, if you are listening to that shaky, shaky song, it will go on forever. So you can skip now to that next song on the playlist on Spotify, Juicy Morning 2. And then let's find our way at the top of our mat. So you're going to come up, find yourself at the top of your mat, having your feet about hip distance apart, nice and square, making sure that the edges of the feet are square, parallel to the edges of the mat. Good. From your hips, push everything down into the floor, through your legs, through your feet. Feel solid, feel grounded, feel held. Take a deep breath into this moment, into your morning, into this brand new day, and exhale, take your bow forward. Come into that forward fold. Pause here for a moment and just feel into the body. Every day we come to the mat, the body will feel different. It will feel different depending on the time of day. It feels different in the morning than it does in the evening. So really tune into what you are feeling now in this moment, rather than having any preconceived ideas of what your body will feel like. How does your body actually feel right now? Then let's come up halfway. On your next inhalation, let that inflate the body halfway up. And then exhale, fold back down, bending your knees as much as you need to bring your hands to the floor. Again, inhale, halfway lift, belly pulls up, exhale, fold back down. One more time, inhaling, halfway lift, pull the spine nice and long, and exhale, fold, hands all the way to the floor. Step the right leg back, inhale, stretch it back. Exhale, look forward, pull your chest forward, maybe sink a little bit. Inhaling into plank pose. Hold, and then when you're ready to exhale, lower down. And it could be a gentle roll or a knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga. Inhale, hug your elbows into the ribs, lift the chest, firm your legs, toes on the ground. Exhale, release. Let's do that 2 more times. Inhaling, roll the shoulders back first. Keep them away from your ears. Exhale, release. If you're using your arms too much, those shoulders will hike really high to the neck and ears. Use the back, use the core, use your legs to lift you. Exhale, release. Good. Let's take our hands just a little bit wider now. So they're going to come above the corners of the mat, fingertips to the floor. Now, before you come up, roll your shoulders onto your back and then slide the shoulder blades down the back. Yeah. Now come up from the chest and from the shoulders, firm your legs. And when you get all the way up, I want you to test that your neck is really free, that there's not any restraining here, maybe dropping one ear to one side. And then coming back to center with your gaze, look over your right shoulder, firm your legs, pull your navel in. Can you get a little bit higher? Come back to center. Look over your left shoulder, keep pulling that navel in to protect your back. And come back to center. Inhale, lift a little bit higher. And exhale, release. Elbows bend all the way down. Hands back underneath the shoulders. Tuck the toes. Press yourself all the way up into your downward facing dog. Lift the hips, pull the thighs back. And maybe in this downward facing dog, we're bending the knees, walking out through the legs. Beautiful. Very nice. Start to spread the fingers of the hands and really feel that connection. Be in that moment with the hands. Grounding down, notice where the hand feels heavier, where it feels lighter, where it's starting to lift away from the ground. Can we reconnect here? And then from the grounding of our hands, can we push into the floor to lift up, up, up through the spine so that the pelvis is rising to the sky even higher. And then looking back to the hands, step that right foot forward. Oop, land in your lunge. Pull your chest, pull your gaze forward. And then step the left leg all the way forward, back into your forward fold. Inhale, rise, lift the chest. Circle the arms, reach all the way up to the sky. And exhale your hands back through center. And again, inhale. Take the arms all the way up. Exhaling into your forward fold. Come up halfway, inhale. Rise and lift, exhale, fold. Left leg steps back on the inhale. Exhale, look forward, sink. Inhale, step the right leg back, top of a push-up. Exhale, lower down, your choice. Inhaling, opening the heart into your back bend. Exhaling, downward facing dog, tuck the toes, lift up, pull back. Breathe here. Take 2 more deep breaths. And if you need to modify this, take your child's pose instead. Always welcome. Last breath. Look to your hands, bend the knees, step the left foot forward, inhale. Exhale, settle, sink, stretch long. Inhale, come back up, halfway lift, and then exhale, fold. Inhale, rise, lift the chest, back is straight. Reach the arms to the sky. Exhale, hands down to the heart. Good, let's keep going. Inhale, arms rise. Reach and stretch and exhale, fold. Stretch through the backs of the legs, through the spine. Halfway lift, a chance to really decompress the vertebra. Exhale, fold. Step the right leg back. This time, let's keep that back knee lifted, and we're gonna take a twist. Right hand stays to the ground, right leg back. Take that left arm forward, and then start to circle the chest, the arm up to the sky, and then let the arm come down by your side again. Inhale, reach the left arm forward. Circle and rotate up to the sky. And exhale, release down. One more time. Inhale, reach the arm. Circle nice and wide. Open, open, open. And exhale, hand comes back to the floor. Step back, plank pose. Beautiful. Lower down, knees, chest, chin, chaturanga, your choice. Inhaling to open up through the heart, the chest. Exhaling, downward facing dog. Pull the hips up, reach them back. Beautiful. Take a moment here to breathe. Think about lifting your hips up from your hands, grounding into the hands. Lift the hips up, then pull back, thighs back, calves back, and pull your heels back rather than trying just to get them flat down to the floor. Last breath. And then we're going to step that right foot forward. Right foot comes forward through the hand. Good. Keeping that lunge here, we're going to take the twist. Left hand to the floor, either fingertips or palm. Take the right arm forward like you're about to shake my hand, and then inhale, circle up. Exhale, the arm comes down the outside of the leg. Inhale, big circle, big rotation. Exhale, last circle. Try to keep the pelvis out of it. Just let the rotation happen from the spine, and then hand back to the floor. Step forward, do a little bit of a length here, a lift of the chest, and then exhale, bow, fold. Inhale, rise, reach, and come all the way up. Exhale, hands to the heart. Last round, a little bit different. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, taking your bow, fold forward. Come up halfway, inhale. Navel to spine, exhaling to fold. Left leg is going to step back, and this time we'll bring the knee down to the floor. Perfect. Rise up on your next inhalation. Lifting up through the front of the pelvis, and the tailbone is rooting down. Soften the shoulders. Good. Show up really present to what's happening right now in this moment. How is that back knee? Does it need more padding? Maybe you're on a different surface, a different floor. Maybe it needs a tuck of the toes for a little bit of support. Good. Lift up through the sides of the waist. How do those shoulders feel? Let's add a twist. So this time we're going to bring our hands down through the heart. And we're going to twist so that we're coming towards the outside of the right leg. And that left elbow is going to come and place on top of the right thigh. Palms of the hands pressed together. Lift your right elbow towards the ceiling. And then pushing into the hands, you can get a little bit more rotation of your chest towards your thumb. You can stay here with the knee down and go deeper into that lunge. Send the hips towards the floor. Or tuck the back toe, lift that back knee, make this stronger, more dynamic. And if you even want to go more dynamically into that, open your arms, pushing the back of your left arm against your right thigh, but don't go there if you're already kind of wobbling in the pose. Yeah, be present with what you really need. Take one more breath. And then bring your hands back to center, rotate the chest back to center, and hands come back to the floor. Step it back, pull back, either a plank pose or, my friends, just come into down dog if you're willing. Lower down, your choice. Inhaling into that back bend, pull the chest forward and up, and exhale, downward facing dog. Take a moment to breathe here. Feel from the hands grounding, lift up through the sit bones, press the thighs back. Another chance just to remind ourselves, approach each pose as if it was the first time. Be really present in that moment rather than approaching a pose with your history of that pose, with your preconceived ideas or intentions. Just see where you are today, this morning. Take one more deep breath. And then let's step that left foot forward. Bring the back knee down to the ground. Good. When you're ready, rise up. Lift up through the sides of the waist. Soften the shoulders. Make sure your neck is nice and free. Good. Take one more breath here. Really nice and opening for that right hip flexor. And then we're going to come into our twist. So bring your hands to the heart. Start to rotate. So you're going to bring the right elbow on the outside of the left thigh. Left elbow is reaching upwards to the sky. Pushing down into your hands, rotating the chest to your thumbs more. Beautiful. And then we can stay here, or we can tuck the back toes, lift that back knee, and really energize through that back thigh. Breathe here. If you still want to go deeper, and only if you really are feeling stable, we can open up, opening the arms. That right arm is pushing against that right thigh and knee. Take one more breath. Bring the hands back to center when you're ready. Rotate the chest back to center, strong legs, and then bring your hands back to the floor. Step it all the way back into your downward facing dog. Lift your right leg to the sky, scissor the leg, bend the knee, open up the hips. Beautiful. And then take that foot back down. Second side, left leg lifts up to the sky, bend the knee, roll that left hip over the right, and then place that foot back to the floor. Let's do a twist here in our downward facing dog. So take a moment, catch your breath, steady through your hands, lift your hips up, pull everything back. Then we're going to take our right hand a little bit more towards the middle. So see if you can bring your right hand underneath the face. Let's try the twist from here. It's a little bit more stabilizing for us. Your fingers are still facing forward to the top of the mat. That's it, hand into the face. And then start to twist the body so you're looking underneath that left arm. Good. Maybe this is all we're going to do. Maybe we're struggling to keep the breath flowing smoothly and deeply. Or maybe you can bring the hand from that position all the way back to hold on to the outside of your lower left leg. Keep twisting. If you're finding that's too difficult, really be where you need to be. Be in the moment and make a choice in that moment. Is the choice that you're making creating more tension, more unease? Or is it allowing you to go deeper into the moment, deeper into the experience? Release that twist. Second side, that left hand's going to come underneath the face. Pause here, adjust, notice. Do we need more? Is this good? Can we twist? Looking underneath that right armpit, right arm. Good. If you do want more, bring that left hand all the way to hold on to the right leg. Whether you're holding on to the right lower leg or the ankle or even the thigh, and then use that to give you a little leverage to twist a little deeper. Take one more breath here. And then slowly coming all the way back, downward facing dog. Lift the hips, pull back one last time. And then let's look to our hands, and we can either walk both feet to get there or do a little hop to get your feet to your hands. Inhale, come up halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, let's come all the way up. Circle the arms wide. Reach up to the sky. And exhale, hands to the heart. Do that one more time. Circle the arms up, breathe in. And exhale the hands to the heart. Beautiful, my friends. Step your feet wide. So we're going to come to the long edge of our mat. Good. And then we're going to turn the toes in, turn the heels out, bring our hands to our hips, breathe in, lift the chest. And as you exhale, take a bow. Start to push the hips backwards, pull the chest forward, and let the spine drop, 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 drop. And then finally, let your hands come to the floor. And if it's possible, try to get your hands more aligned with your shoulders, if that's possible. Good. Sometimes what we really need to do, if the back is really rounded, if we still are working on cultivating flexibility in the legs, say my legs were tight and I was kind of in this shape, I would actually want to lean forward, walk my hands forward so I can get some length in my spine. Maybe taking the legs a bit wider will help you feel that the back is more straight and flat. And then eventually, as you build the flexibility, you walk your hands back, but it takes time. Really show up to where you are in this moment. Be present. If your hands are under your shoulders, can you start to push them more actively into the floor? And can we all start to actively lift up through the backs of our legs a little bit more? From your heels, lift up to the backs of your knees. From the backs of your knees, lift up through your sit bones. So little subtle movements can make all the difference. Are you breathing well? Bring your hands to your hips. Lift your chest, push into your legs and rise. Come all the way up. And exhale, release the shoulders. We're gonna add a little twist here. So inhale, lifting up. As you exhale, we're gonna come back into that forward fold. Take your left hand underneath the chest or the face. Keep the right hand on your hips for a moment. And just start to roll the chest towards the skies, twisting to the right side. Now try to, with your right hand, pull the right hip back and then pull your chest and head in the opposite direction. So really stretch out the spine long. Yeah. And if you need to bring the hand more forward to do that, just make sure the hand, is under the shoulder. Keep rolling that right shoulder back and see if you can reach the right arm up to the sky. If that hurts the shoulder in any way, doesn't feel good, just keep that hand on your hip. Take one more breath. Yeah, and then let's switch. So the right hand's gonna come down into the place of the left hand. Left hand comes to the hip. Start to rotate, roll the left shoulder back, keeping the pelvis as still, as centered as possible. Keep lifting and rolling the left shoulder back. And then maybe we can extend the arm if it feels good. Good. Now bring that left hand back. And then this time we're going to bring the right arm up to the sky. And that left hand is going to walk over to the right foot or ankle, or as close as we can get. Good. And then let's switch. So we're going to lift up in midair, switch the arms, right arm over to the left ankle, left arm up to the sky. Let's do that a few times. Inhale, lift, mid-air, switch. Exhale, reach over to right leg. Inhale, lift. Use the core, engage navel to spine. Exhale, twist. Inhale, and exhale. A little faster if you can. If not, slow it down. Exhale, inhale, exhale. The core is really working. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. One more time. Inhale, exhale, inhale through center, hands to your hips or thighs. Exhale, I want you just to fold and release that. And if you need to bend the knees a little bit there, if those hips have worked a little bit hard and you need to let go, just let the knees bend, let there be a little bounce. You can even do a little bit of morning twerking here. Twerking is good, I've read recently, for lower back mobility, so twerk away. Inhale, come up onto your fingertips, lift the chest. Exhale, you're gonna fold. Bring your hands back to your hips, lift the chest, rise, come all the way up. And then we're gonna take just a micro back bend here. So really strong in your legs, hands to your hips. Inhale, lift the chest, push your hips and thighs a little bit forward and just lean back. Tiny, tiny micro bend, just so you can stretch out through the front body. And then come back to the center. Turn your right foot towards the front of the mat. Turn your left foot very, very slightly. It's at about 10-15 degree angle. Find warrior two. Bend into that knee. Good. Reach out through your fingertips. Have your chest open like you're about to receive your day. Good. Reverse it. Inhale, right arm reaches up to go back. Exhale, go back into that warrior two. Before we reverse it, I want you to really reach forward, lean forward, and then reach up and go back. Reverse the warrior. One more time. See if you can go a little bit more forward, a little bit more deeper into that right lunge. And then inhale, reach up, reverse. Good. Come back to your warrior two. Straighten that right leg. Reach forward with the right leg straight, triangle pose. Reach, 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 and then take that bottom hand down to the ankle, to the shin. Reach the top arm up to the sky. Push back into that left foot. Tailbone towards the back heel, really open. Feel that you're opening, lean back. Lean your heart back, lean your head back. Yes. And then rise, come all the way up. Beautiful. Drop your arms, switch sides. So pivot on your feet. So now your left foot is facing the back of your mat. Right foot is also angled at a slight degree. Find warrior two. Check the knee is centered over the middle of that foot. Go deep into the lunge. Keep the ribs centered over hips. Reverse it. Inhale. Reach up to go over. Exhale. Go back into your warrior two. Good. Before we reverse again, reach forward, lean forward, and then reverse it. Flip the palm. Reach up and back. Keep your leg in that deep lunge. Exhale back into your warrior two. Inhale, reach as far as you can. Lean into that left leg and then reverse it. Reach up and back. The leg stays in the lunge. Exhaling back into your warrior two. Good. Inhale, straighten that left leg. Lift the chest and go over into triangle. Start to reach with that left arm. Keep reaching, and then take the hand down. Open up the chest. Lean the heart back. Can you be and show up in this moment really truly in the present so that we can assess what is really happening and that we can respond rather than react? Can you respond? Maybe go deeper if that's available, or respond in a way that you're giving yourself more space. Maybe you come up and out of the pose enough so that you're breathing fully and deeply. And slowly let's rise, come all the way up. Exhale, release the arms down. Turn towards the long edge of the mat. Turn your toes out, your heels are gonna come in. And then start to sit down as if you're sitting in a nice wide sumo squat. Beautiful. Hands come to the inner thighs. Lean into your hands, lean your hips back so that the knees are directly over your ankles and they're not collapsing forward in front of the feet. Good. And there's enough weight in your hands so that it doesn't feel so leggy. It feels a nice balance here. Then let's take a twist to the right. So you're going to turn to your right leg. Start to drop the chest towards the right knee. Use your left arm to keep propping that left leg open. Your left hand is pushing your left leg back. Open. Yeah, that's it. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale to the other side. Use your right hand to keep pushing that right knee and hip open. Inhale back to center. Exhale to the other side. Let's have the breath. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Stay low if you can, but if you need a little break, just come up in between. You can straighten the legs a little bit in between and then go back in. Let's do that one more time. Inhaling. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale, last one. Inhale back to center. And just to be your friend, just to challenge you, to make you really deserve that little break at the end. Sit here in your straddle pose. Feel the bum working. Squeeze around your sit bones. And with the best, biggest of your smiles, inhale, stand all the way up. And exhale, release the arms down. And just notice what flushes through you after that. So after the intensity, there's often that rush of joy, that sweet release and relief. And then let's turn back towards the top of our mat. So I'd like you to set your legs up more in the position of warrior one. So your feet are hip distance apart, there's space, and your body is facing the front of the mat. So Haley, turn more towards the front of your mat. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, chest, hips, ribs. And we're actually gonna keep this right leg straight. And then I'd like us just to start to fold over. So you can even walk your hands over that front leg. Watch your back, particularly the upper back. Notice when it's starting to round. I want you just to start walking your way down. Maybe you stay with the hands on the shin, or maybe the hands stay on the thigh. Don't think getting to the floor makes this pose any better for you if really we should be here. If you can get to the floor, by all means, you can bring your hands there, but don't rush to get there. Take your time, even if that time isn't today. Now, wherever your hands are, we're going to build our twist from there. But first, pull your right sit bone back. Good. Bring your right hand to your hip. Good. And then start to rotate. Now, not locking in this knee. So check that the knee isn't hyper locked. So you're going to just bend the knee a little bit. Yeah, make sure it's movable. Keep that. And then start to turn and rotate as much towards the right as you can in your twist. So your hand could be supporting you on the shin. It could be supporting you on your thigh. That's an option too, or it definitely can be on the floor. Good. If your left hand is on the floor, maybe you take that right arm up. If the hand is being propped on your leg, It might be a little more difficult to take that right arm up, so you might feel more comfortable with the hands on the hip. It's a strong pose. Breathe here. One more breath. And then exhale, fold, drape over that right leg. Good. And then walk your way up. Slowly, slowly, slowly. Turn to the other side. And set your legs up again for that warrior one position. Feet are hip distance apart. Body is facing forward. Pull the hips back. Left leg is straight. Start to walk yourself down over that left leg. Yeah, as far as you can go without having to drop the chest around the back. You want to keep the back long. Keep the left hip dragged back, right hip forward. Then start to bring your left hand to your left hip. Pull the hip back as you start to twist. Now, if you're falling over at this point, maybe you've just gone a little bit too far. See where you can be without having to be too dramatic in the pose. Can you just get a little bit of rotation while stabilizing through that left leg? If you're feeling quite balanced, maybe that right hand can come down to the floor and start to rotate more. Yeah, keep showing up moment to moment, breath by breath, and just approaching that moment with new eyes, without expectation, without a familiar past. And then take that left hand all the way to the floor, drop over that left leg. A big bow here. Walk your hands back up that left leg, all the way up to standing. Turn back towards the long edge of your mat and just heel toe your feet together. Inhale, press your feet down, reach your arms up to the sky. A little back bend can be a micro back bend again. Push the hips forward, tailbone heavy down, lift the heart up. Maybe we just bring the hands together and look upwards. This is a back bend in itself. Or maybe keep working your legs down and forward to support you as you lift out of the legs, up and back. And then hands to your heart, pull yourself together again. Inhale, big circle of the arms, reach to the sky. And exhale, hands back to the heart. One more time. Inhale, slowly rise up with the arms. Slowly gather the hands back to the heart. My friends, let's come to the mat. We're going to come into downward facing dog. So, however you get there. Let's all find our way in downward facing dog. Good. Stretch the right leg up again. Bend the knee, open up that right hip. And then we're going to bring that right knee to the right wrist. The foot, the shin will come across the mat. Lie the foot, the shin down. Slide your left leg back, setting ourselves up for pigeon pose. So an option if we're not able to do pigeon pose because of the knee, if that's twinging you in any way, come onto your back and do thread the needle pose instead, where we hold behind the left thigh. Okay. If you're in your pigeon pose, come down, forward, and over your front leg. And you can just rest on your forearms, or you can go all the way down. Beautiful. Think about keeping your hips square. So the right hip and the left hip are in the same line. Take one more deep breath here. Maybe even a little sigh. And coming up onto your hands. Roll over onto your right hip. See that you can bring your left leg forward. And we're going to see if it's possible to bring it all the way across that right leg, sole of your left foot to the floor. Now, if you're kind of like sitting like this now, kind of stuck here, we're going to make this a little more easy for you to get into this. So you're going to swing your bottom leg out so it's straight. So you can sit that left sit bone back on the floor. and your left foot is still on the ground, nice and flat. However, if you can be in that full bind, stay there. Wherever you are, grab hold of the bent knee. Lift your chest, pull your chest towards it. Lift the belly and the ribs. Wrap your arm around the knee. And then inhale the left arm to the sky, starting that rotation. Rotate from the ribs, from the thoracic spine. And then place the hand, not to lean back into, but to support the rising upwards, to support your uplifting. Stay rooted through your sit bones, and let your head be the last thing that gets included in the twist. Check in with your breath. Are you holding it? Yeah. Paulo says, yeah. Don't hold the breath. Try to breathe. Breathe into wherever you can feel space right now in your lungs. One last breath here. And then slowly unravel, untwist yourself. And we're going to take that top leg all the way back. Come into your downward facing dog again. Lift your hips up, pull the thighs back. Do a little march from side to side. And then inhale, take the left leg to the sky. Bend the knee, open up the pelvis, roll the left hip over the right. Good. And then you're going to step or bring your left knee to your left wrist. The foot, the shin go across the mat. Lie everything down. Slide the right leg back. Start to prepare for your pigeon pose. And remember, if pigeon pose isn't serving you right now, go onto your back and come into thread the needle pose instead. And you might even be lifted the whole time, or you might be able to slowly lower yourself down. Forearms, elbows, maybe the head comes to the hands or to the floor. And this is an opportunity to really show up again to the breath. And just noticing what's showing up in the body this morning. Every day is a new day. Our bodies have a new way of being and moving and feeling in the world. And our practice really helps us to stay connected and to really listen and understand the body. When we meet it with what's really happening rather than expectations of what the body should be doing. Take one last big breath here. And then we're going to walk our hands up. Bring your hands back to you. Roll over to your left hip. Bring that leg all the way around. And we can swing it all the way across the left leg. Make sure your right sit bone lands on the floor. And if it doesn't, you can do this modification where the leg is straight. That way the pelvis is really anchored. I'll demonstrate this way this time. So now we're going to wrap the left arm around the knee. Before we begin, pull the chest, pull the belly in towards that thigh. Then start to reach the right arm up, and you're twisting towards that bent knee. Twisting all the way around, bringing your right hand behind you. Fingertips come down to the floor, not to lean back into, but to support you here. Good. And can you root to rise? From the grounding through your sit bones, can you lift up through the crown of your head and start to turn? Notice your breath. It's resisting, but can you find more space for it? And then slowly come back to center. Good. And then we're just going to, from here, take that right leg forward in front of us. Bring both of your feet to face to the sky. Put a bend in your knee so you can start to feel your sit bones. Pull them back if you need to. And start to sit more in front of the sit bones. Inhale, reach the arms upwards to the ceiling. Exhale, take your fold. Good. And if you can reach the toes in your feet, wonderful. If you have anything nearby, even a sweater or your jumper, you can even use that to hold on to your feet. And if you don't, you just hold on to your shins. Now your knees were bent to begin with, and then you can start to play with getting them more straight, but they don't need to be straight here. A little bend is okay. It's better to have more space, more ease in the back rather than pulling the legs straight, which will pull the back if you're really tight. Good. And for these last two breaths, I'd like you to think about pulling your sit bones back, like someone had your pelvis, we're kind of pulling you, dragging you towards the back of the mat. And at the same time you feel that, feel the chest moving forward. Good. And then let's slowly come all the way up. Reach the arms to the sky, circle the arms back behind you, fingertips to face into your sit bones. And we're either going to come into a reverse tabletop, lifting the hips up, or we can come into reverse plank pose, point the toes, press into your hands, lift the hips to the sky. So either the legs are straight, toes are trying to find their way to the floor, or the knees are bent, a little easier here, lifting the hips up, trying to get them level with your knees and chest. Wherever you are, we have 2 more breaths. Push into your hands to feel the chest and shoulders open more. Keep the neck straight. Now on your next exhale, lower down to the floor slowly, gently, and then sit all the way up, nice and tall and straight. So this is the time, my friends, where I invite you to get comfortable. We're just going to spend 5 minutes here, just sitting with our breath to let everything settle. If ending in meditation isn't for you and you prefer to end the class in a Shavasana, by all means, take that. If you need to sit on your bed, on a sofa, on a chair, if you need to get warm, if you're not in a very warm place, make sure you put on any layers of clothing that you might need. And then take a moment to really settle into your seat, whatever that seat is for you. Settling into your comfortable seat. And just for a moment, notice the way your body feels after that practice. And our practice should be like a recalibration. We should start to feel more ease in the body rather than more tension in the body. And that will be due to your intention throughout the practice. If you are really showing up moment to moment so that you can serve the needs with fresh perspective, with fresh choices, rather than always choosing the same pattern, the same habit, the same choices that we're familiar with. Every rising moment is a new opportunity. We can carve a new path with each moment that arises. But how often do we just pick with what we're familiar with? We choose the path that has already been well trodden. So let's come back into our mindfulness practice now. Once we sit and feel grounded through our seat, start to tune into and turn towards the breath. And your breath is happening all day, all night. It's something that will happen automatically without us even realizing. But now that we're turning towards the breath, see each breath as a unique breath, as a unique moment. And just the way that every snowflake and raindrop is unique that falls from the sky, every breath is slightly different. Every breath has new layers and dimensions of experience, of sensation. And can we see this breath, this familiar breath, in a new light, with new eyes, with a new understanding? And the moment we become aware of the breath, we can choose, we can make choices. We can choose to slow it down, to make it deeper. We can choose to hold it, to let it go. And when we see the breath in this way, in this light, as something new and exciting, we're less likely to get bored of it. When something becomes routine and habit, it starts to feel a little dull for us. But the key to the happiness isn't always finding and seeking something that's exciting. We're searching for that joy outside of us. But can we find that joy, the beauty, the excitement in the everyday, in the routine? We can do so if we're really present, really in the moment, and we can see that it's never the same. There's always something different, a new flavor, a new texture. There's always beauty when we just tune in to what's happening right here. And when we show up, when we're clear, when we're open to the present, really in tune, we can choose another way of seeing, another way of behaving. We can break our patterns and our conditions that bind us to a familiar past, which in turn binds us to a predictable future. All of that power lies within us. And it starts just by noticing the breath, the uniqueness, the beauty of each individual breath. Every day is a precious, precious gift. Can we move through our day seeing the beauty in every moment? And when we get lost, which we do, just take a moment to tune into our breath, to tune into what is really happening right now, so that we can put down the baggage, the preconceived ideas and judgments, and just see what is happening with new open eyes. Take one last deep breath here. And a big sigh. Thank you for moving with us. It's so, so nice to see you. Namaste.